Ladies and gentlemen,
didn't want to start right away, but fine.
Special person who we'd like to introduce to you today. Oh, yes, and my shoulder is very, very sweet indeed. Sweeter than a pot of honey. That's right. So let him pounce on over here.
And we'd like to share a big welcome to the one, the only, Mr. Andrew Vega!
Alright, I did not plan on starting that right away. And okay, can you stop now, please? Thank you. Alright, I'm just gonna cut right into this because I am already eating into my 10 minutes. I am sorry if this goes over. I will try to do my best.
I will cut you out. I will tell you when you're at 9.
Yeah, this has not been rehearsed.
I
So
will tell everybody you're at 9. I have to stop you at 10 or we'll be here forever.
Right.
I just have no choice, all of you.
So, I decided to do this presentation on something very near and dear to my heart, and that is the history of theater in Colorado, because I am a theater nut. You're welcome. So, firstly, did anyone know that the amount of theaters actually outnumbered the amount of schools back about, say 150 years ago? For whatever reason, I looked at the registers, whatever the heck they were, like the archive register, whatever the heck it's called. I looked at it and it was like 75 pages of just theaters and auditoriums, if not more. And I, of course, did not have time to read all of it, but I'm like, yeah, this is a lot. So that was something I found to be interesting. One of the oldest theaters in our state was actually the Elitch Theater up by 38th and Tennyson. So yeah, before it was a theme park, it was actually a zoological garden and outdoor pavilion theater. The theater opened as the pavilion in about 1890. It was originally farmland that was bought by Mary and John Elitch, who moved here from San Francisco. And the Elitch Theater basically was around for like ages and ages, and I'll get to some of the more well-known actors and actresses who graced the stage in a couple of minutes, but it's interesting because this is actually one of their older circa 1900 promotional posters. So, you know, they were mostly well known for things like vaudeville and things you'd basically see in the circus, you'd see on the Elitch Theater stage. And for some reason I couldn't find anything on their actual stage shows. I don't know why, but their history page had nothing about it, so I'm just like, all right, whatever. But Mary actually, kind of going on to a little bit of a side note for just a second, Mary was actually the proprietor of a theater that would have, to this day, been walking distance from my house, just at the northeast corner of Sloan's Lake, the Manhattan Shore or Manhattan Beach Theater, I think is what it was called. That theater was only around for about 15, 20 years before it actually burned to the ground in a massive fire in 1908. And all the structures were literally lost. And it kind of stinks because having a theater that close to my house would have been amazing, because we all know how blind people get around and how difficult it is in this day and age to find transportation and whatnot. But yeah.
Also a amusement park.
Yeah.
Yeah. A big amusement park, so you can't tell it was there, but it was.
Yeah. So, I just found that to be interesting. Does anybody by chance know who this is? No?
I've seen a picture before.
Yes, you might have seen her, you might have heard of her. This is Antoinette Perry, who is a Denver actress who made her Elitch debut in 1906, is that right? That's what I had written down. For some reason I was looking at the wrong page, there we go. Yeah, so 1904 is when she made her debut. She was so well known across not just America, but I guess the world, that she is actually remembered as the person they named the Tony Awards after.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I said too. I'm like, wait, the Tony Awards are named after a Denver actress? I'm like, okay, fine. I did not know that, but that is really cool. Also, speaking of Denver and Antoinette. She was actually the director of the first Broadway production of Harvey, which was written by Mary Chase, who is also from Denver. So yeah, Denver people are all over Broadway, including also, I don't know if you've heard of this name or not, but Sarah Barnhart was also an actress who graced the Elitch Gardens or Elitch Theater stage. She was in 2 shows in one day back in the early 1900s, and then we also have on here Douglas Fairbanks and his son Doug Fairbanks Jr. They both graced the stage early 1900s for Douglas Fairbanks Sr. and about August 1974-75 for Fairbanks Jr. It was funny because Doug Sr. was actually quoted as being so desperate to see a show at the Elitch Theater when he was a kid that he would scrub the stage in exchange for a ticket. So that's how desperate he was to see a show, and it kind of came full circle for him when after he made his Broadway debut, he was able to do a show on the stage at the Elitch Theater, so I just thought that was cute. Obviously, we all know about the DCPA downtown. By some grace of a miracle or whatever, this is actually their 50th anniversary year because they basically broke ground in 1972, or at least they started breaking ground in 1972 when Donald Sewell actually started trying to make something up in honor of his business partner, excuse me, in honor of his business partner Helen Bonfils, who used to be, back then, was the chairwoman of the Denver Post, so well-known name there. Several theaters litter the DCPA campus. You have 4 of them in the Bonfils complex alone. The Buell Theater ended up opening up in the 1990s, and I actually got to go see my first show at the DCPA last December because I actually got to go see The Lion King not once but twice. And I went to go see it on opening day. This is what the stage looked like, and it was an incredible venue, an incredible experience that I will never forget. It was the first Broadway show I ever attended, and it was wonderful. I also got to see the last dress rehearsal for the operatic version of The Shining. Yes, I'm serious, they turned it into an opera. It's actually really, really good. If you do get a chance to go see it, I highly recommend it. I don't remember if it's playing the L.A. Hawkins anymore, but yeah, that was a cool experience. Speaking of experiences, one of the theater companies in town that I've had a very close relationship with over the last couple of years has been the Family Theater Company, which up until now I didn't actually realize family was an acronym, which actually it stands for the physically handicapped, sorry, I'm on the wrong page again.
We can see it on
This is
your slide.
This is why it's good to rehearse though. The organization stands for the Physically Handicapped Amateur Musical Actors League because that's all they ever did up until the early 2000s was musicals. First musical they ever did was Guys and Dolls back in the early 80s, early 90s, and then they would go on to produce their first show at the DCPA, Anything Goes, in 1992, and they got their first award as the Mayor's Award for Excellence in Arts and Culture for their production of Sideshow in 1999. But yeah, it's pretty remarkable what these guys do. This year they're doing Rocky Horror, and it's actually part of the reason why my life got screwed up a lot this semester, because that's what made me sit out for 2 weeks, because I finally got the stupid you-know-what. So that was fun. Speaking of fun, it's also fun when I get a chance to talk about the theater in our own basement. Because of course I couldn't go on in this presentation without bringing up Red Rock's theater program, which was, according to current chair Kelly Jo Eldridge, started around 1986 by the first chair, who was Pamela Mencher, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name
It
right.
was Pam Mencher, I knew her.
Yeah. She was the chair for well over 20 years before she retired a couple years back. Then David Matthew Barnes, who's also a local playwright, who's nationally and internationally known. He took over before Kelly Jo did a couple years back, and she's been the chair pretty much ever since I've been here, if not longer. And yeah, their theater program's awesome. They're doing Evil Dead this summer out in the pavilion. I'm not going to get the chance to audition with them because unfortunately I'm going to be doing other things with other stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much that. I didn't.
You're at 9.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, so anything else anybody wants to ask me? Ask now, forever hold your peace. No? Okay.
No?
In closing then, may I say the following, that this program has been made possible by the following sponsors, or in this case, sources, as well as contributions to this PowerPoint presentation from viewers like you. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. He's so bashful, you guys, I don't know.
I put off my nervousness well. Or at least I tried to.